Here's why I don't talk about the situation with Diddy and many of the current affair things that happen in our society. It's not that I don't have an opinion, but sometimes we have to make sure that we see past certain illusions. One of my reasons for not really having anything to say about that situation is because there are a lot of dirty hands. And if we really want to take a look at the situation, we would understand that there were a lot of players in the process of him, but he's the one highlighted. You know, we have situations where we're looking at someone who has dirty hands, but we're ignoring the many other dirty hands with it. And in many cases, these are people who should also be brought to the table, and these are people who should be under the gun. And many times they get excluded from the situation. Like in companies, you may have employees that were stealing. Who gets brought to the table? The CEO. In gangs, you have gangs that are carrying out certain crimes. They get immunity, but who get brought to the table? The gang leader, the certain leaders. Now, I understand that the premise is if you cut off the head of the snake, the body will fall. I totally understand that premise. But for me, there's still the concept that because we're dealing with the head of the snake, the tail has nothing to worry about, or the tail should not face any consequences or repercussions. So when we look at stuff like that, or we function like that in our society, what's really being prosecuted? Is it the dirtiest hands or the cleanest face? And the cleanest face, I mean the person who may have the most power or maybe the most popularity. That seems to be what we prefer to go after. And preferring to go after that does not make what has taken place justified. And I mean justified in the sense of who's going after them, justice was brought to the table. Because the way I feel, if someone commits a crime, say against my daughter, assault or something heinous, I don't want them saying, oh, well, let's just go after the head, the person who put it together, and the other people are going to get immunity because they're going to tell on the person who put it together. See, that whole idea and that whole concept to me is flawed because it makes us feel like we won or we got somewhere by bringing a certain individual down. But when we stop and really think about it, what is happening to the other people who were part of it? In his case, it's very clear that he had other people that were participating, whether bringing him the supplies, maybe helping him communicate, maybe bringing him the people to participate. And I really don't want to even dig in too hard on that. But what I'm saying is the concept or the illusion that we put in place to say, well, once we get this person or we bring this person to justice, everyone should be happy about that, I think is flawed. I think that we should, if we are saying, well, we needed other people to participate in order to get this person down because they were the one that orchestrated the entire thing, we need to make that very, very clear in the sense of instead of just ignoring the other people that may have participated because they got immunity or you just don't want to go after them, it needs to be clear that those people are also guilty. Those people have also contributed to this massive thing being able to be undertaken. And what we're deciding to do is give them a slap on the wrist or give them immunity because we think the whole thing would fall apart if we cut the head of the snake off. But really, is that putting it to an end? Is slapping someone on the wrist who were on the bottom floor of dealing with this, have they learned their lesson? If we're saying that consequences make people learn their lesson, if we give immunity to the people that were participating, if they don't feel consequences, and we're letting them run free in society, did we put a certain behavior to rest or put it to an end? Did those people feel the consequence enough to say, well, I will no longer participate in something like this if it's someone else, someone new, someone fresh, someone else with a popular face or big pockets? Will they now say, well, I can go and participate in that and help them because I didn't really feel the pain of what took place? That's the reason why I'm not talking about this, because there are certain things in our society that I think that we've strayed away from when it comes to principles and when it comes to really moving forward as a society. We let certain things continue and perpetuate and move forward that shouldn't. And there are people who are allowed to get off the hook because they didn't have the popular face or the big pockets, even though they participated in the thing and their participation was necessary for the thing to prevail. I think us as a society have to think that through and really process our own selves instead of waging convenient justice and having this belief that the takedown is of rich, powerful, popular people, and we let the ones walking the street off the hook to go attach themselves to another situation where they have the know-how, the experience, and the intelligence to form another situation elsewhere. They should not be unspoken of, in my opinion.